What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to this Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy the Scale News Update, hit the like button and let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, Vanquish introduced the new H10 Optic. This is a new platform with new front and rear axles, also referred to as the H10 axles. The front axle has a integrated steering ram to mimic a hydraulic style double-ended steering system, and that's kind of the highlight of that front axle. The servo sits behind the axle and tucks up into the chassis, so while you have that steering in the front, you don't actually see the servo. The chassis itself is a molded plastic chassis, similar to other, Wraith, Bomber, Capra, things like that. But this one's modeled after a, trail buggy style, two-seat trail buggy. Now, the chassis also has molded ABS hard body panels, so something a little bit different there. And the side panels are actually what hold the battery trays into the chassis, and you can get to them pretty easily with one body pin and then a little pin that comes out of the bottom. Super simple to get those in and out. Now, this was announced and released all at the same time last Thursday. So at the time of announcement, information, everything was ready to ship. So they're already in people's hands now. They're available in two different liveries. One is a Yokohama, which is a black ABS panel with gray cage. And then there's also a Sparko livery, which is a black cage with blue panels. Both chassis also have a molded interior with a molded driver figure in there. That's also molded out of ABS, and it's black on both cars. It also matches like the fuel cell in the back, and the power tank that sits just behind the driver area is molded in the cage color. The transmission is the standard VFD. The axles that we talked about before, they're a little bit wider than the normal F10 style axles. So you've got about 16 millimeters of additional width on both the front and rear axles. The rear axle looks just like the F10 straight axle, but it is indeed a different housing with different axle shafts to give you that extra width. This is currently only available in RTR form and is available at $499. So if you're interested in that, you'll find links to them below, as well as links to the rest of today's stories. Speaking of the H10, Knight Customs is already working on some stuff for it. He posted a teaser up on social media this last week of a new interior that he's started to work on. You can see the driver figure in there as of now, and you can see that it's got two servos, one that's going to be for the steering wheel and one that's for like the handbrake type setup. If you've never seen any of Knight Customs like movable interiors, they're pretty cool looking. The arm articulates in a very realistic way, and you can actually, same with that turn brake, emergency brake, e-brake, whatever that's supposed to be called. Brain fart. Either way, gonna look good. He said that it's early in the process for what he showed currently, but looking forward to seeing whatever he puts out. If you'd like to see any of the other Knight Custom stuff, you can go check out his My Mini Factory, where you can buy files and print your own parts at home. Axial's new release last week was a updated version of the SCX24 C10. They're calling this a V2. I think that I thought it was a V3 or whatever at this point, because it does have another new set of electronics in it. This is the Spektrum branded stuff, which will also come with like the new Spektrum charger, which is a nicer charger for sure. It also gets the new oil-filled shocks, which are a definite upgrade there. This comes in two colors, one bright deer hunter orange and then black. Also coming now with silver wheels on it, but beyond that, this is pretty much an unchanged release. The comments on the release of their social media weren't all that positive, but it's not like they're trying to hype this up as something wildly new. It's just an updated thing, and they put out press releases when they do that. There was plenty of discussion back and forth though, and some interesting comments about they have some stuff coming for 2024. There's things coming, new things coming. So we'll see what those are. Always interested to see. Next, Bead Designs released the information for that new GTR body that they have coming for the discontinued Arma Vendetta. Again, the Vendetta platform has been discontinued already. It is odd to see new bodies like this come out from smaller companies for discontinued platforms. Especially one, a platform that wasn't wildly popular anyway. They were trying to blow these things out at the end of their lifespan. So they obviously weren't selling real well and didn't necessarily even have that long of a lifespan in the first place. So a little bit interesting, either way. Maybe they'll sell enough to make sure that that is a, profitable project and that it's not something that they regret doing. But only they will be able to tell us that. Maybe it's a pet project, you never know. But hopefully they just didn't notice that the car was discontinued, and we have to assume that that's the case. Come join Matt and I this Wednesday for a live stream takeover at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We've got a couple of weeks left before, well, less than a couple of weeks left. Time is ticking before we head off to our next event. So there'll definitely be some nerves hitting us both, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to, discuss in terms of that. But looking forward to that. Come join us this Wednesday for like the 220th time in a row. And if the live videos aren't enough content for you, you can also check out my channel membership, where you get some extra videos behind the scenes, as well as videos like the Scale News update a little bit early, the night before, as soon as I finish it. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link in the description below. You can do that on your desktop, or click through there. Sometimes the phones don't like you to do it because of Apple, but beyond that, check that out if you're interested. Appreciate all the support from the new and existing members. This week, Proline had a couple of new releases for the Losi Pro Moto. They've got a licensed Dunlop. This is the MX33 tire. I don't know a whole lot about the motocross world in the full size. Maybe that this is a extra popular tire choice for full size dirt bike riders. Either way, it's cool to have licensed stuff. Names that you know, styles that look good, and hopefully one that's a popular choice in that world. Along with this, they're also calling this a V2 bead. Obviously, the tire design itself is different. And to be able to use these tires, it says right in the bottom that it requires the use of the new V2 bead wheels, which they also released. These are called the Bullyspoke V2. So a little bit different design overall. Again, you have to use both of them in combination with each other, but you can also purchase these as a pre-mounted set. In case you want to take some of that headache away, and pick up the wheels and the tires, front and rear, pre-mounted, ready to go. I'll put links to all of that below, where you can pick up those for pre-order currently. Also from Proline this week, they released the 1957 Chevy Bel Air Avenger. Now, Avenger, I believe, is what is referring to the monster truck that runs a similar body. But in the listing for this body, Proline actually notes it for the monster trucks, crawlers, and 8-scale monster trucks. And then they put photos of all of those up on the listing, so you can see how versatile it is, which is kind of cool. And I don't know that it's something that has specifically been done by Proline in the past. Now, of course, you'll have to trim the body considerably different depending on which application you're going for, but they made those accommodations from the get-go so that the wheel wells weren't too big or too small or wildly flared, things like that. They just did a good job, and it's cool to see that that choice was made obviously early, or however they plan to do it, to make it fit all of those platforms. So good on them for that. And 57 Chevys, hard to pass up anyway. Kind of cool to see them use it in the product demos with a scale truck. So maybe you're on board for that for any of those 3 platforms, and if so, that is also available for pre-sale now. Next, Team Associated is doing a re-release on the classic RC10T. I believe that this says that it came out in 1991, and this just goes to keep celebrating Associated's 60th anniversary as a company. So if you're interested, obviously there's a lot of verbiage on the website about its design at the time, being that designed by the same people as did the RC10, obviously, things like that. So if that's something that piques your interest, to reminisce on old times, or something you wish you had, or just want to see how things used to be, you can go check out their website for more info on ordering. JConcepts released some Silent Speed 180 size motors. These are made for the Traxxas TRX4M. I didn't really think of JConcepts as a motor supplier, but I had to go on the site and double check, and they do have a number of brushed motors, both rebuildable, replaceable brush style, as well as sealed can motors. So obviously not too far out there, and they all kind of share that same Silent Speed name. So just something I wasn't aware of. But they're offering these motors in 2 different turns, depending on what your goal is with your TRX4M. And obviously now that they also have the TRX4MT, monster truck side, which we know that they're big fans of, maybe we'll see some more that's aimed specifically at that. But if you're looking for a fairly inexpensive brushed motor replacement for your TRX4M, 2 more to choose from. This Thursday is the second to last episode of the Rocky Mountain High series, where Matt and I are building buggies to take to the We Are Rock Nationals out in Morrison, Colorado, beginning of June, just a couple of weeks away. Time is ticking, so come see what we've got, where we're at, and what we have left to do before we leave for that adventure. Looking forward to it, looking forward to having the buggy done, and definitely not worried about testing it at all before the event, because we know that's not gonna happen. Come check out this week's video and go back and watch the rest of the series if you haven't already. I'll put a card above so you can see what we've done so far. I think I was supposed to point on that side, right? Yeah, that's over there. And also this week, probably do another episode of Friday Night Live. Last week we had a good episode. Nicole joined me with the release of the H10, and we talked about that a little bit, and also then just typical BS on the bench. This week, likely no different. I'll probably be fiddling around with the moon buggy. So come join me this Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific once again. But that's gonna do it for this week's news topics. For this week's question though, I wanna know, are you an organized person? Do you consider yourself organized? Are you only organized in certain areas of your life? Do you have your toolbox a very specific way, or is it a disaster? Does your bench look nice and clean almost all the time while you're working? Or is it just explode into a bomb while you're getting things done and then you have to go back and put things away? You all know which way that I likely am, and that's why I'm not panning the camera down. But I wanna know, how many of you are like me and you're a disaster case, and then you gotta do some cleanup? Or how many of you are just, nope, I clean up as I work and then I don't ever have to clean up again? I don't understand. But let me know down in the comments below. I always enjoy reading your guys' comments. And if you don't have or don't want to participate in that, just tell me what color's your toolbox. Help out the YouTube algorithm with a comment. But as always, thanks for watching the Scale News Update every Tuesday. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Subscribe if you're not already. Consider joining the channel membership if you're interested. Notification bell, the whole deal. As always, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Every once in a while, while filming one of these, I realize how weird it is that I'm just talking into the corner of my room. Sometimes you just don't think about that at all. And then sometimes you're just like, I really just sit in this room and talk to myself. One of those days.